Hello, welcome back to the laboratory. Today we are doing the Exploring Creation with General Science Experiment 13.3, the effect of sodium bicarbonate on stomach acid. And the procedure is published in Exploring Creation with General Science by Wile, published by Apologia Educational Ministries. And the purpose of this experiment is to observe what happens when the sodium bicarbonate from your pancreas is mixed with the stomach acid in the chyme that comes from your stomach. And the equipment and materials in this experiment are as follows. We have baking soda, so sodium bicarbonate, the toilet bowl cleaner, like the works, the same kind that we used in the previous experiment. But again, if you can't find that, you can use that solution that you safely made with the muriatic acid available in a hardware store, along with water. So again, that's 5 milliliters or a teaspoon of this muriatic acid added to 1 liter of water. And again, if you're going to do that, have an adult who knows what they're doing help you. Make sure you're wearing eye protection as well as gloves. And be aware that the fumes that come from the muriatic acid are very strong and can damage your respiratory tract. So you want to protect that and don't be breathing in those fumes. Always add the acid to the water and remember your safety gear because that can actually be very dangerous. Okay, you also need your red cabbage, and hopefully you saved your solution that you made in experiment 13.2 for that. You'll need a small glass or a beaker, a teaspoon, a separate spoon for stirring, a saucepan, and I also prefer a cooking spoon for making that red cabbage indicator solution, a measuring cup, distilled water, a stove for boiling the water that's not pictured here, and eye protection such as goggles or safety glasses, and definitely gloves. Again, we're working with acids and bases here, so you'll need to have gloves. So let's start by putting on our safety gear, putting on goggles and gloves, and then we're going to go ahead and get started with our procedure. So step 1 tells us we're going to make the same indicator solution that we have made before, and we made in experiment 13.2. And remember, we always want to start by rinsing anything that's going to come into contact with that indicator solution with our distilled water to get away any impurities that will be affecting the pH. So the saucepan with the cooking spoon, the measuring cup, the stirring spoon, and the small glass are all going to be rinsed with this distilled water. So I'm going to go ahead and do those items. I'll just set my red cabbage over here. And I'll be rinsing those in the sink. Okay, rinsing them and emptying them out. Again, rinsing and emptying out. Okay. All right, now we're going to place several leaves, like we've done before, place several leaves of red cabbage into our saucepan and add in our 2 cups of distilled water. Again, if you've already made this in a previous experiment and you still have it and it's fresh from that day, then obviously you can just go ahead and use that more. All right, now we're going to go ahead and put in the red cabbage and then put this on the stove to boil. it tells us to go ahead and add that purple cabbage to the pot in the pan. Okay. Then we're going to put that saucepan on the stove and heat it until the water boils. Now here I find it easier to use a spoon, like a cooking spoon, and to stir it around the pot. Step 3 tells us to heat the saucepan until the water boils and then allow it to boil for a few minutes. Step 4, turn off the heat and allow the pan and its contents to cool for a while. Okay, so there's my pan. All right, we're going to let that cool. Step 5, add 1 teaspoon of toilet bowl cleaner to the glass. Be careful when handling the toilet bowl cleaner. If you get it in your hands, immediately rinse them with lots of water. The toilet bowl cleaner will burn skin. So remember, gloves are always the best solution to that. Hopefully you have some around. Okay, so 1 teaspoon of the toilet bowl cleaner, and we're going to add that to our beaker here. And since I have a paper towel, I'm going to set it down there so we're not contaminating our counter space. Okay, step number 6 says, once the saucepan and its contents have cooled somewhat, fill the measuring cup with the cabbage water. Be careful, it could still be very hot. If you get a few cabbage leaves in the measuring cup, use the stirring spoon to remove them. Okay, so we're going to pour that in. Okay, and it's that nice purple color. Remember, you want your indicator solution to be a nice purple color, indicating that it is neutral. If it is more on the pink side, then you have some type of a contaminant, or if it's more on the blue side, you have some type of a contaminant. So that's part of why we rinse with distilled water to begin with, but do make sure that it is purple. Okay, now we're going to pour the cabbage water in the small glass and use the spoon to stir the contents so the teaspoon of toilet bowl cleaner mixes with the cabbage water. So we've done this before, and you should by now remember that it's going to turn a certain color. What color is that? Let's see. Yes, pink. It's a nice pink color, indicating an acid solution. Okay, so you can see the two side by side. This is the neutral pH indicator that is purple and has been added to an acid, and that is showing as pink there. Okay. It says the color of the content should be pink or red. If not, the color of your toilet bowl cleaner is too strong and you need to try a different kind of toilet bowl cleaner. Okay, so as this experiment is causing us to observe what happens when the sodium bicarbonate from your pancreas is mixed with the stomach acid in the chyme that comes from your stomach, this part of the procedure is showing the acidic solution that is coming out of your stomach. So you've eaten the food has been swallowed down the esophagus, it's been in your stomach where it has mixed with hydrochloric acid, and that bolus of food, or rather that mixture of food, is called chyme. That is taken from the stomach into the upper small intestine, and then this is where the pancreas action of making sodium bicarbonate would come, and through a duct that sodium bicarbonate from the pancreas is going to come into the small intestine, where it will then encounter this acid chyme mixture. So again, this is representing the chyme mixture that has just been deposited from the stomach into the small intestine, and then our sodium bicarbonate is going to be coming from that's representing what's coming from the pancreas into that upper small intestine. So step 8 says use the other spoon to scoop some baking soda out of the box. Okay, so I guess we're supposed to mix this. It did a great job of mixing on its own. Okay, and we're going to be using some of the baking soda out of here. Okay, and it doesn't tell us exactly how much to use, it just says some. So let's start with a little bit and see what that does. That's not very much. In fact, if we measured it, it'd probably be 1/8 of a teaspoon. So we're scientists, we like to be a little more exact. So let's use 1/8 of a teaspoon here. So before I add this, what is your hypothesis? What do you think is going to happen? Your educated guess? We are adding this sodium bicarbonate to this acid mixture. All right, well, let's see if your results support your hypothesis. We're adding in just 1/8 of a teaspoon, and it has gone from purple to now a blue color. Okay, you can see the two side by side there. And you can see where we have added the sodium bicarbonate. It's actually more blue than the neutral purple. So recall with our pH indicator, when it's neutral, it's purple, but when it is in the presence of an alkaline or basic substance, it is going to turn blue. And if it was very strong, it would actually turn more of a green to a yellow. Okay, we are going to observe what happens, obviously. Step 8, slowly add the sodium bicarbonate to the mixture in the glass. We've done that. Note what happens. So go ahead and write down your observation and your results. And step 9, continue to add slowly until it changes from a pink red to a blue purple, which obviously it did quite quickly for us here. So we'll go again a little bit off book and see what happens when we add a little bit more. We can add another 1/8 here, see what happens. It's getting even a little more blue. And even a little bit more blue. Okay. So go ahead and record your observations there of what happened when we added the sodium bicarbonate, the baking soda, to the acid mixture. Okay, thank you so much for joining me in the laboratory today. That does conclude experiment 13.3. Again, when you clean up, do make sure you're wearing your eye protection as well as your gloves, and pour those down the sink and rinse them down with plenty of water. And when you're done with your cleanup procedure, then it is time to safely remove your gloves. And again, you do so by grabbing the what we call a dirty part, a contaminated part of the glove with your other gloved hand. And now you have a clean hand and you're going to reach underneath the other contaminated glove and pull it over like that. And then you have a safe surface to be touching, and then you'll discard those in the trash. All right, well, we'll see you next time in the laboratory. Thanks again for joining me today.